Hey, what's up, fellow apocalyptic survivors, and welcome to Nerdy Bunch weekly review for Apple TV series Silo. My name's Dave, and joining me because I promised him ice cream and music after this is my co-host Andrew. What's up, Andrew?
I'm gonna play the drums for sure. What's up, David?
We're here to talk episode 9, The Safeguard. Faith is shaken, people head down deep, people identify people as traitors, and people uncover the truth. I'm trying to keep away from spoilers, of course, but spoiler-free, Andrew. What did you think of this episode, and why is it the best episode ever of Silo ever?
Yeah, that's it. That's the spoiler-free. Best episode. Reveals, story advancement, more people finding out about the past and the previous world. Excellent acting all around. More characters, more things than I thought. This is what I love, right? It's like some things I thought were correct, some things were just not thinkable. It's just like more and more and more, and then this is one of the shows that connects the best to previous reveals, right? Like breadcrumbs from season 1 are connected to in like great ways, right? Creature commanders. It doesn't have random things they show. Like every single thing on screen. In fact, I can't wait to almost rewatch from season 1. I would binge both seasons just to like properly have my brain understand everything, right? Because I feel like there's even more that I'm missing. But that aside, like I said, I thought the acting was great. We got a lot of answered questions. I like that they didn't keep everything for the finale. I feel like a lot of things here. Honestly, I've seen shows that have ended here, and that was the season finale, right? And we wouldn't be too upset if that happened. It'd be like, oh, okay. But I'm literally like shaking on the edge of my seat for the finale because there's so much they could do, and I love that we have 2 more seasons, right? If I'm not mistaken. And even all the reviews I've been listening to, everybody's like, "Oh, I don't want to see this from the books." Blah blah blah. Like whatever. Now we know too. Haha. So yeah, I think mostly the reveals and the fact that we're getting a lot of answered questions, and also some new character dynamics and reveals as well that just continue to add tension. And I have a lot of guesses about things. Right there's a lot of directions they could take things, but long story short, the best.
Just a few things I want to say in the spoiler-free segment, because I want to go straight into spoilers as quick as possible. Is one, this show, I've heard some people, and I find it interesting because I think you and I have never complained about this really like that in this show, where a lot of people felt that this season has dragged, and kind of like the pacing has been slow. But I've found every episode to be
I like it.
like I haven't felt it's dragged. I just think some people are just impatient.
That's the kind of show it is, though. Season 1 was already like. It's a slow burn. It's not a...
Yeah, it's a slow burn. But that's the thing. It's slow burn, but not feeling like it's dragging because I'm still invested. I never I'm stopping to look at my phone because I'm bored. It's never that kind of show. But also, this episode, I feel like solidifies that if you're paying attention, right, this episode, what's the word I'm looking for? Rewards your patience.
You, right?
Yeah. Right. It really rewards you. You're like, oh, okay, this is why. You and I have complained about, we've had our complaints. We've complained about how Juliette's been at the silos for most of the season.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like this episode kind of made a point of why she needed to be there.
Yes, and I'm now fine with it. I'm fine with
exactly.
it. Like, okay,
exactly.
You know what? Stay longer. Why are you rushing back home?
Right.
Not much happening there.
There's not much to rush to, and things like that. And I think it also shows the other people on the other side of the other silo, right? They get time to shine, and I think also by the end of this episode, you understand. Well, not by this point of the season, I should say, not this episode, but by this point of the season, you begin to understand the impact that Juliette had on all those people as individuals. Right, and I think you need her to not be there for us to see that, because Juliette's such a character that's very understated. Because she's not looking for attention. She's not looking to be any kind of leader. No, she's not loud. And sometimes she's that kind of person that's like, she tells herself that she's a loner and doesn't want people, but yet she has such ways to connect with people, even if she's doing it through gritted teeth. She's still doing it. She has this compulsion to like want to help. And I don't know if it's a mixture between like her doctor father and her engineering her engineering capabilities and things like that. And just like understanding maybe she realizes that to fix things you have to understand things, right? And so she kind of does that to people. And I think you see by this point of the season, being away from all those people, you start to understand why. Not just because there's one thing to be like Juliette lives, yeah, but it's like, what did Juliette mean to you guys?
Yeah,
but we start to see that, and I freaking love that. All right, let's go into spoilers. Let's talk about Silo 17. Right. Andrew, you've been talking about this whole season that there's been people there or someone there, right? And even you said last week that there might be more than one person, there might be multiple people there, and we found that to be true.
Still more than I thought.
And another thing I find fantastic in terms of if you're paying attention throughout this season, we've had like interesting shots, like Vantage POV points. Shots and vantage points that seemed like someone's watching, but I wasn't sure if it was like a creative choice or a POV shot, and we weren't quite sure. Exactly that. Now we know it's exactly that. What did you think of seeing the flashbacks from the point of view of the young survivors?
No, I loved seeing it from the view of the 100 kids. It was just a great way to introduce us to them. Each of the shots, so like, yes, they were the ones that cut the rope, but I definitely didn't predict that there was a group that were quote unquote not agreeing with themselves. What I mean by that is crazy lady Audrey, who's just like bang that, come kill them all.
Kill first, ask questions never.
Yeah, like freaking cut the rope. And then I like that the guy whose name I just forgot right now, Rick is like, yo, like he doesn't even say much to her. He just like he's there saving Juliette like her guardian angel. Amidst all this, right? And so it's fun to see the bickering between them. But I like that because it's not often that people just like see eye to eye. Even if you may have the same goals, doesn't mean you have the same way to get there. And the little things like, I called it, right? Like he's like, yo, we need this dude to get the vault to get food. She's just like, no, kill him. And he's like, I mean, if we kill him, we're still gonna starve. Right. And I think it was made all the more important when we found out there's a baby, just a baby, which I didn't expect the baby.
The baby who's also doubles as a stopwatch, countdown timer.
Right. Like once baby's ready to eat, time's up. Right. So I thought that was great because yes, I think we were, or at least I was thinking, is there one person, maybe two? Now we see that there's 5,
and we thought it'd be like fully grown adults, as well, not young kids.
And it's like none of them are grown. Solo's the oldest of this bunch. So I like the reveal. I like the way they showed us, the different altercations, even because we've asked a few times like, why didn't they attack earlier? Why didn't this person do this earlier? But you could kind of see the decision making process, right, of why, and then why they took that opportunity at that exact time. And even I love when shows do that, right? When you see how the blood got on that particular object, like they took us through the exact sequence of events. And obviously Solo wasn't dead, but I mean, very, very near. It wasn't far from it. So I enjoyed meeting the three of them. Like I said, even their dynamic, right? The fact that the eater, who I believe we don't know her name, she was basically like sprung on them. So she's part of why there's less food, and so now they've given her this name, which is kind of mean, but like whatever.
Because they believe that because they needed extra food, that's why their parents went searching for food.
Yeah,
and that's why they got killed.
Yeah, so it's like
even more so it's your fault.
Drawing connections that like may be right, may not be right. Even when Solo was telling the story, right, there's a very deep moment because it's like, yeah, I did kill them, but not just like
it's almost self-defense.
Yeah, it's not like he just like went crazy and was like, kill whoever.
And he was young.
Yeah, which again, I think great acting from the cast, right? Because you could even see Audrey as she was slowly lowering her bow, involuntarily or reluctantly. Just kind of, I feel like the back of her brain having that realization. It's like it's almost like what you're doing, except like you're young and in a position you're just gonna do things and not be thinking, oh, what if this person has kids? Like
because you're trying to feed someone. You're doing it because you're trying to save someone.
Exactly. Right? And so that whole reveal, I really liked. I thought it was, even quote unquote better than what I may have predicted.
But I like this narrative because we get the answer of we just mentioned of who those two bodies are.
Yeah.
Right. It's the kid's parents.
Yeah.
But I like the nuance of it, right? Because again, these are things that I don't care how good you are, you never would have guessed that's where the story's going.
Yeah.
Right. And this kind of nuance of Juliette being this kind of glue, and it makes sense why she needed to stay, because she needed to kind of bring these people together. Even if reluctantly, she kind of starts to realize, oh shit, put two and two together. I love the revelation. Again, we all thought those numbers were dates.
Yeah.
On the chalkboard, but it was then trying to figure out the code.
It gets completely wrong.
And again, things like that. Like, our example of what you said, you're paying attention. It's something that it's there, and you don't realize it's important until later on. You're like, oh shit,
like
she
Juliette,
wiped it out.
like, oh yeah, exactly. She's like, oh, doy doofus.
Like, you should have wiped it out. And just kind of seeing all of that, I like kind of, like you said, the dynamics between them of not agreeing fully, and understanding from everyone's point of view. As annoying as Aubrey was, super frustrating.
I get it though. Oh, I mean,
from her point of view, this is the person that killed my parents, right there.
Yeah, like,
I mean, killed them in cold blood.
Yeah,
from her perspective, like, I can understand that, but I love that this show doesn't drag that narrative out over like 5 episodes.
Yeah, it's all like resolved quickly, but I have guesses there too, right? Because by the end, my wife and I were kind of getting. I feel like I'm gonna call him Jim, Rick. I feel like Rick. We feel like Rick may end up killing Solo. I don't know. There was a after he told the story, there was kind of a like switch in Rick. It was almost like like after you get that closure and you're like, okay, we're here and we have the food. So thanks. But we'll see. Because I'll almost riot. Solo is one of my favorite characters of this show, even though it's only been in this one season. Just the way he's like, you want food, but how about we have some ice cream first?
And there's like music. Oh, music. You haven't had music? That's way better than ice
cream. Better ice cream, right? And then he has the vinyl, and then even
the Monster Mash,
the drums, and just everything, right? It's like you can almost see his childish nature. Obviously, he never really got a chance to mature. You can see his excitement to be able to finally like share this with people, especially because now that I like that we now know his backstory. We now know that he was the son. He wasn't just in here because he's batshit crazy. It was more like, bro, I mean, he saw his father get shot to protect this vault. He's not gonna let you random person in here. Like I literally saw my father get killed to protect this. I don't care who anybody else is. It doesn't really get worse than that. So like I felt a lot more like, okay, yeah. I see that. I too would be like, no, there's unless my father coming back to life, there's nobody else making me open this vault.
But then see, that's the brilliant story writing of it all, right? In terms of we realize that as Juliette realizes that, because our view changes as Juliette's views change, right? She's frustrated, but then she starts to realize, wait. Because we know that he's been lying to her. We're thinking, why are you lying? Why? You understand? Oh, okay,
like, okay, that's
why.
That's a fair lie.
Exactly, and it quickly changes into empathy. Yeah. Right. There's huge amounts of empathy that you're like, damn, that sucks for him. He saw his dad killed. Oh shit. He thinks the dad did it to protect the vault. No, he did it to protect you. Yeah. Not the vault, not the silo. It's to protect you because everybody else was trying to get out. And dad probably knew, because again, he was the head of IT. He knew the outside world is poisonous. Yeah. Right. So he can't convince everyone. Is like, close his vault. If anyone can survive, it's going to be you. Yeah. He cared about you. And this pressure was put on you. You didn't have to do all this. Yeah. It's okay. You're okay. Because that's when you understand when he talks about, I'm not going to up again. I failed. Because he feels he failed his father.
Even though he didn't really fail, right?
No, exactly.
There was nothing he could do.
It's what a child would do, though. You would put this pressure on yourself. And then that compounded over how many decades, like, of course he's going to kind of look at himself like that, call himself Solo. I love the idea when they talk about names and what your names are. He got rid of his name. Whereas you have someone like Ita who doesn't have a name, or doesn't have a last name. I love these little moments. And I love the kind of hierarchy of information, right? We've seen throughout this show where someone like Juliette is like, oh, creatures. No, they're birds. And then you have someone like Juliette now telling someone else about surnames. Yeah, exactly. So it's like this kind of like levels.
Like some people know something, some know others. Because I guess it's we were semi wrong. These kids didn't come from the outside. They were just really young kids from that silo, which also makes sense why they're, I guess, so comfortable within the silo, right? Like they've set up shop and they have everything except for food, right?
Mhm.
It's they're able to survive. They're able to, they even have the makeshift makeshift medieval weapons and
Mhm,
armor,
mhm.
right? Like they're able to like MacGyver stuff, but like
I did appreciate that we see them putting it together. Not
hmm
just it's just there.
yeah,
You know, I did like that.
like the little Iron Man in
Mhm.
the cave moment with Rick. So I thought that was really good, and even again the dynamics of the kids, like Eater being like, Juliette, take me outside.
Right.
Just,
Mommy,
just,
please. I don't.
just like
They don't
one.
like me.
But again, shout out Juliette, right? Because that was an emotional moment. Solo said it as well. When she said to him, yeah, so
You
for
could have
that
left me.
other suit, right? And he's like, thanks for not leaving me. I thought that it just showed a lot of growth from her too, because like you said, she's always doing the whole I'm Batman, I work alone.
Mhm, mhm.
And all of a sudden it's like, I'm being
And,
nice. I mean, you're okay, Solo.
no, just like Batman's like, okay, fine, I'll take one Robin.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, one
Or
more
find
Robin.
find one more. Okay,
Okay,
fine.
okay,
I have a whole Bat family.
okay.
Oh, fine. Yes, Alfred is also my bestie. I never mentioned that, but
But I work solo. I work
oh yes,
solo.
I also love Catwoman. Oh,
Yeah.
and Talia al Ghul. It's just
Okay,
like,
fine.
bro,
Okay, fine. I run the Justice League.
like, like that's literally how it felt, right? Where she's like, I'm gonna pretend to be alone, but then you just keep seeing her inner nature, right? Actually, bubbling to the surface, and I thought it was just good growth on her character's side.
Because like even her dynamic with Ita reminds me of her dynamic with Solo,
So,
right? And it's just one of those things where it's like a kid asking all the questions, and then,
hmm
but why, but why? And
hmm
there's usually two reactions. The one reaction of a parent being like very engaged, like yes,
yeah,
this, or the other reaction of the parents like,
Jod
leave me
from
alone, get away from me,
Skeleton Crew.
right? Whereas Juliet's like a mix of both,
Yeah,
where she's like, then
yeah,
gives you the answer.
yeah.
you know,
It's
like she'll be doing her thing frustrated. She's like, I don't know, it means this. Blah, blah. She'll
like,
still give it to you,
yeah,
even though she's busy and she's frustrated and things like
yeah.
that. But she'll still give you the answer. And I kind of appreciate it. Same thing with her dynamic with Solo. She kind of showcased a remarkable amount of patience,
Mm-hmm.
considering what she's gone through with him. Right? Most people are like,
Yeah.
you know what, I'm done. Get out of my face.
And I think she also realizes that despite, because so it was funny when she said there's another suit. I mean, Ali had to almost drown and, get shot by an
Yeah,
arrow.
right, right. But
Like
I
she,
love that moment between them because at first you're like, what? And then you realize, oh, it's played for like a joke because they
yeah.
laugh, but they don't. It's one of those kind of situations where have when people want to express, like, it's like probably older generation, like say like your parents or your dad, and you're like, I love you. Dad's like, I can't say the words. Exactly, sure thing, kid.
Kids.
It felt like that,
Mm-hmm.
where kind of like she turns away, he taps on the shoulder, and it's
Yeah.
almost like telling them, I love you too, without saying the
Without
actual
ever
words.
saying the actual words, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love the moment again to show how Juliet kind of she at first carries on like I don't care, but she does care when she's like when Rick is like you need to open the vault. And she's like no, I don't.
Yeah,
You need to
you
open the
did.
vault.
That was so. That's one thing I appreciate about Juliet. She always like she doesn't come as the aggressor,
Mhm.
right? She's willing to kind of even with them like they're like oh open the vault, and she's like okay I'll work with this, or like with Solo to where it's like pump the water. She's like
Mm.
fine, but then she reaches the point where it's like look, listen, okay, I
I'm
will
doing this to help you out,
I will do
actually.
this up to a point. Don't take me for a fool. Don't take me for idiot. Like so that was actually hilarious. She's like, I don't have to open no damn vault.
He's like,
I don't need food.
I don't think you need to get in
That's
the
right.
vault, not
So
me. Like,
so like just shut up and let me work. Thank you.
right, right. No, I thought, yeah, thought it was a brilliant kind of way. And I like by the end of this, it's almost like an interesting. By the end of this, it almost feels like the beginning of a new show,
Yeah.
right? In a good way. Like there's a backdoor pilot. This can have this new kind of contained
Yeah.
family unit, right?
Yeah.
Even if whether Juliet stays or leaves, it still kind of feels like there's a new family unit being created here. And what I like about this is, in contrast, I'm about to go to the other silo. In contrast, the other silo, where the other silo, it's all about the people in
It's
power.
falling
People,
apart.
not just that, the people, because of the people in power or with the information are keeping or withholding information, and
Yeah.
as the people without the power starts to realize there's something out there we don't know. That's
Yeah.
what causes the tension.
Mhm.
Whereas in this silo, silo 17, the more information is shared, the closer people get.
Yeah.
You start realize, oh, maybe if we kind of share information, they start, and in a good way, even when Solo, now Jimmy, starts to tell him about the outside world, little by little, they start to understand what it used to be. It becomes this sense of like a togetherness. Right, instead of separation, as opposed to what's happening in the other silo. Once people realize, wait, there's information that we don't know, what and it creates this separation. Let's go over to silo number 18. We're gonna start off with Lucas, our boy Lucas. Our boy Lucas has been gone on a journey, and I think he's taking us on a journey with him.
Yeah,
because I was initially like, that guy Lucas. He's clearly up Bernard's ass, only just because he wants to find out information and he needs to know stuff, and he's the guy that just needs to know just because he needs to know.
Yeah,
and to a degree,
just to stay alive, even
to a degree, that is who he is. Even his mother's like, you always want to know everything. Why can't you just know nothing sometimes? Though she kind of pushes it to the point of ignorant is okay. It's fine to be ignorant, which is also problematic in itself.
Exactly.
But I feel like slowly, also, I give it to the Lucas actor, because Lucas is one of those characters that he came in last season, he's a nobody, and then suddenly this season he's the guy.
Yeah.
I would never have never had kind of a guess that they would have put this character as the forefront.
Yeah.
But now I'm kind of like, okay, maybe Lucas isn't such a bad person. As he gets to know more, he starts to realize, okay, maybe I can help more.
Yeah.
What did you think of Lucas's knowledge of what he's using in terms of, he finds out about Quinn's notes, he starts to decipher it. The notes say, if you've gotten this far, you already know the game is rigged. We think we're the chosen ones, but we're only one of many. The founders didn't build a single silo. They built 51 actually.
50, yeah.
And they created the safeguard. If you don't believe me, go to the very bottom of the silo, find the tunnel, you get confirmation there. Lucas's journey to the bottom safeguard. I remember last season, Juliette almost found that tunnel.
Yep.
Because George was like, "Go there, it's safe." And Juliette was like,
video.
She was that close to the water.
But is it though? I was reading a review that was like, "Look, you'd have said it's a whole season, Juliette." like literally, just all you had to do is go down there. But I feel like, even her fear of water would never have let her do that in the past. But she now has that growth of, she's had to literally survive by going back into the water. She's been in the water 3 times now,
right?
At least, and gotten cut. Like she's done all sorts, and like she's ready for the Olympics.
Best swimmer ever.
But Lucas, just going in order. This is not order at all. Sorry, some funny moments. One, when to his mom, because he told Juliette in season 1 that he had to take care of his mom.
Yeah,
and his mom was like, "Sorry." Take care of me? She's like, but boy,
I've been taking care of you.
Like, so that was funny. Like, just a random lie I didn't expect.
But it's a good lie, because for him to explain why when she asked him for help, he's like, I can't help you. Take care of my mom. It's just him admitting his cowardice. Yeah, and I love that.
And I think even the take care of mom, it might not have been like, I'm at her beck and call. It was just more like, I can't be gone. Sorry.
And if something happens to me,
it's gonna they might go for her, right? Like it's not like the take care is not directly like I'm her caretaker. No. Just more like I have dependents, all right, so, or vice versa. Which Juliette, you kind of don't. Sorry. Oh, actually, Juliette does. What am I saying? Anyways, and that aside, and the second random moment is when he put his hand on the judicial guy, who also, by the way, just a random shout out. He's also kind of grown on me. What's his name?
Oh, Amerston.
I was about to call him Ruben Amorim. That's so crazy. Man manager Amerston. Yeah, the reason I like him is because I like people who aren't like pushovers, but they also don't just bend to anything. So like last episode he gave Sims the info. I was like, but that's it. I was doing you a solid because of your wife. Go away. And then even this episode, when Lucas has his arm on him, he's like trying to stay alive. You gotta take your arm off me, boy. But then he still told him enough. He's like, Bernard doesn't want to be disturbed till evening. So he's not a douche, right? He's
not personal. He's literally doing his job.
No. And like I shout out people like that. Like all he can do is his job, but he also kind of, I feel like he understands that there's this like middle dynamic of the silo, right? He's he's not a yes man. I don't think he's the kind that if Bernard said, all right, go and shoot everybody, including people upstairs, he would do that. He'd be like, really? What? Is that necessary? So yeah, that was it. Just shout out him and put that to the side. Back to Lucas. I've enjoyed his journey and discovery, and even having the gall and the the balls really to even go down there, because
Sure.
he could very easily be like, all right, so Mr. Quinn, I'm not going down there. One, it's gonna be tough. Two, okay, so what if it's true? I have a good life now. I'm in the vault. Like, if
I
he
got
was,
a blue card.
yeah, if he was more selfish, he would literally, like you said, just be like, I'm just gonna play Bernard's pipe and live a good life here. This blue card is more than I ever thought I'd have. But he still, takes the risk to venture down. But I liked his interaction even with like Shirley as well. Just kind of, I feel like he continues to just show his, like, maybe you mentioned, like, his personality has shown through a little bit. He's not just he's not a pushover, nor is he like evil and nefarious. He's just kind of a guy who is inquisitive and is just honestly might have the silo's best interest at heart, deep down, right? Like, I don't think he would, similar to what I just said about Ruben Amorim, I don't think he would do what Bernard says at the expense of the silo. Like, I fully believe that now, because my mind is a little confused. Like, what is going on down there with this with this Chat GPT that he's speaking to, right? I was so stressed when he said yes about the safeguard. I was like, no, don't say yes.
Do you know about the safeguards?
No, we don't. I was like,
Tell us.
No.
Fun little thing, and I'm sure they did this by design. The title is called Safeguard, and it's got double meaning, because you got the safeguard as in this, so it seems like a threat of some kind, right? Like a threat to the entire silo. But also, Solo was the safeguard.
Yeah,
He opened the safe. So yeah, I like kind of like double
entendres over there.
But back to Lucas. Let's talk about that safeguard, right? He kind of finds out that there's something more. He goes down there, finally gets his way down there. Even the Shirley's like, "Oh, you're gonna die. Yeah, cool, bye."
Yeah. Shirley's like, wait, sorry, before you go, just a quick question. He's like, is this in case I die? She's like, yeah.
Yes.
Maybe.
You will die, and I don't care. Okay, bye.
And that was a great scene too. Just the shots in this show, it was reminiscent of Juliette underwater when she was breathing through the tube. Like, just him, the vast space of being down there.
Which I like, sorry to cut you off, but just little things like, the previous episode, Juliette's water, her air stops coming through, and we think it's someone did on purpose. Like, no, it's actually an accident while they were fighting.
Yeah,
it's happened to cut the thing, and I love moments like that where something's just happened because it just happened, not because somebody was trying to do it.
Yeah, by virtue of a fight occurring.
Yes. Here's my question to you in terms of Lucas and his discovery. Those of us who watch stuff with subtitles, I recommend it. Watching stuff with subtitles helps things sink in more.
Honestly, side note, it's one of the reasons I'm stressed by cinema movies these days. It's like, when I get there, we're like, where the that's not by default. But no, they need to just add that by default. I'm sorry, just please.
In some cinemas, at least out here where I am, you can get like a device you put on the chair that shows you.
Really? Oh, that's awesome.
It's pretty cool. We find those of us who watch captions, that voice isn't just a voice, or isn't like somebody, a person talking on the other side. It's actually an AI.
The algorithm.
No, this is not Dune Prophecy. It's a different show. But my question is, what is the safeguard? And do you think that's connected? Because, you and I question again, brilliant writing, because the questions that we ask are questions they want us to ask. We questioned 8 episodes ago when Meadows, R.I.P., died, and she was dying, and Bernard was like, "Tell me the secret," and she's like, "No, I cannot." And we were like, "You're dying. What does it matter?" Well, we kind of know now, because the safeguards.
If she said it, the safeguard would have gone into play, which is scary, right? Because it also means, though I suspected from the vault, it means that this thing is all listening, right? It means, like, for it to know if you tell anyone means that it somehow has cognizance throughout the entire silo, right? Like, you can't even whisper it, you can't even write it on paper. I'm assuming, like, it's gonna know. It's like the CCTV of the silo.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, do you think the safeguards? What do you think the safeguards are? Is it like ominous as it sounds?
Bro, like, it would probably flush water throughout the entire silo.
Kill
not too much. Kill everyone. Sorry.
And could that be why? Could it be a situation where? Okay, this is just me thinking loosely. I've not read anything. If you think of the silos as some kind of experiment? Because there's 51 built. What if some kind of larger experiment where they're like, oh, this is not working, kill everyone all? Because it's also, because again, everyone thinks, Quinn says everyone thinks they're special, that they were chosen. Their silo was chosen.
Yeah.
So it makes it, for me, it seems like a science experiment. Like you tell everyone this is chosen, or social experiment, and if they die, if they do something stupid like that's going to ruin the experiment, we can just kill them all and go to the next one.
Yeah,
kind of thing. Do you think that's what the safeguards
kind are? I've kind of been leaning towards, the Earth is uninhabitable from poisonous gas, and humans needed to figure out how to live underground, and they were trying to find the best ways to do it. I don't think it's going to be exactly that, but like my head has been like hovering in that space. So like my point being, I don't think it's an experiment it's not Squid Game. It's not like, hey, let's just see what these 50 people do underneath the ground, because like my friend and I were talking about it. The engineering of these silos is very impressive. I'm sorry, it's almost like, how did they build the pyramids? It's like how did they build all this? It feels like a lot of effort for just a. Okay, that was fun to see what they did. On to next. Like I'm expecting and believing that like all the information, basically if the algorithm has that much info, there's a super algorithm or a super controller processing place that has all this information, and I feel like it's for a reason. I feel like all that knowledge is for a purpose, which I may be wrong what that purpose is, but that's kind of where I've been leaning in my brain. But specific to the safeguard, it's just the fact that you can get between the silos. I'm like, I don't know, is a safeguard just meant to protect them from each other? Is it, again, are they not meant to interact with each other?
Or is a safeguard just, when you're younger and the parents kind of, to kind of scare you, they do something to scare you, like loud noises, or you hear the crack of the belt. They don't actually hit you. It's just the threat of it.
Yeah.
Could it be something like that where there is no safeguard? It's just if you tell everyone there's a safeguard, they'll act accordingly.
I don't know, man. The way that algorithm said it, I don't know why it didn't feel like it could be, but it didn't feel like an empty threat for some reason.
I will bring the wrath of God.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. Like it felt very much like, oh, you said it. Like I said, commencing self-destruct sequence.
Like, so you know what's going to happen if you open your mouth. Yes, good. Okay,
I'm like, does he actually know? Anyways, maybe he does.
Well,
but like,
that's my next question, right? In terms of Lucas's motivations, it seems to be that he has noble intentions ultimately, especially because he talks about how he felt he did nothing when he could have once, and now he's to do something again. Understanding that if he says something, it would cause problems. Do you think he's going to find some kind of loophole to circumnavigate being able to give the information? Especially he's a tech guy, right?
I think so. Because I'm
and sorry to cut you off. Sorry to cut you off because to help answer your question.
Yeah.
Do you think also, because it seems to be, is that also Salvador Quinn's plan to help somebody?
That's exactly what I was about to say, because it feels like that was what Quinn. I feel like that was Quinn's long-term goal. Whether it be with the water, with the code, with all of that, it's like, oh wow, okay, this is bigger than I thought. I can't say it, right? Same reason. At least we're not, like you said, so much justice for Meadows. We now kind of know why she had to be so mute and living this life of, I'm just gonna drink, drink my memories away. But I feel like, yeah, between Quinn's brain and Lucas's brain, there's going to be a way where they're able to, even if they pass it on to Juliette, which I'm expecting, because I'm sorry, still, Lucas, even if he survives this finale, Lucas ain't surviving for long. I don't. Again, I'm always willing to be wrong with my guesses, but like
that's why they're showing us his mum so that we can see someone mourn him.
Yeah, that too, and it's just like, I mean, I know Quinn was years ago, but of all the people that have now heard about the algorithm, he's the only survivor. It's not it's not one of those like, everybody who knows about this survives. It feels very much like there's something super, 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 super deep, and it's not something you can just say plainly. But I feel like he'll be able to, now with knowledge he has, plus Quinn, because let me rewind. Quinn was the first to speak to the algorithm, right? So Quinn had no prior person to kind of base his own ideas off of, right? Whereas Lucas has had Quinn and Meadows prior knowledge and guidance, right? So it feels very much like, Lucas, you are the chosen one. You are the one that will share this information without sharing it.
It's interesting Quinn's playing things, right? Because from one perspective, like Bernard, Quinn is the reason why they had all this peace, because he's the one that created the memory racing water and stuff like that. But then it's like, does the information that Bernard have on Quinn, is that all true? Right? Or was Quinn doing like this double bluff thing where there's the version of me that everyone sees, but then there's a secret version of me that's trying to help.
Yeah, or is Quinn the algorithm?
I mean, you never know. It's just different things, and then also, what when does it take days for the algorithm to give you information? Is that why Meadows was gone for 4 days? Like, is Lucas about to be gone for 4 days?
Yeah,
I don't know. And when the algorithm said I didn't talk to George, what did did George still open the door, or did you not talk to George because George didn't have the credentials? Like, what did George do next? That's what I'm curious about. In connection to this, that's what I mentioned about Bernard. What I find interesting about Bernard is that, episodes ago, he was like, "You lack creativity."
Yeah.
And I think this episode showcases how it's a case of the kettle calling the pot black.
Yep.
So to speak, because he's like, "Oh, I already know that. Oh, there's 51. I already know that." He always says, "I know that. I know that. I know that," but he never goes down the rabbit hole of what he doesn't know, because ultimately, he was not one of the names mentioned that spoke to the algorithm, which means, as much as he knew, he never pulled further, and like, he's not curious enough where he's like, "I'm going to go down to the down deep."
No.
Like, he's never doing that.
But I feel like, there's curiosity and there's cowardice, and they can mix together. It's just like, "Ooh, I'm curious. Oh, something's out there. Okay, great. Bye." Right? Whereas Lucas is brave, right? Curious and brave is Lucas and Juliette, right? It's like, I'm willing to back up my curiosity and my ideas with action, right? Like Bernard was never ever going to be the one going down that rope. Like, he barely walks down the stairs if he doesn't have to. Like,
right?
He barely makes
his own coffee.
Right, exactly. Like, he literally doesn't even know how to do that. So he would never ever be the one. And I think that's what's interesting, because think about it now. Bernard is curious. Sims is brave. But Lucas is like a little bit of both, right? And Juliette as well. They're curious, smart, and brave, right? And I think that's what's differentiating them. And Meadows too. Like, Meadows I could see Meadows going down there, honestly, before I would ever see Bernard. I mean, like, by see it, I mean, like, it tracks. Like, I'm not like, really, Meadows went? I'm like, yeah. That makes sense, Knox is, like, again, brave, not really as curious. Shirley too, kind of brave. Like, I feel like I'm now understanding the different qualities that the people have, and why the people that are there are the ones that are there. And I get it. It's also a shout out to Lucas, because, like you said, he really shut up in the importance for me, because I at the beginning of the season, I would not have expected, if you said, "Oh, there's going to be an AI downstairs and someone's going to find out," I would have a long list of people, and he'd probably not even, like, appear on that list.
I would have thought Billings.
Yeah, because he's curious enough and very brave, right? I could see him be like, something down there, or I've got to, or even Hank. Where's Hank? Where's Hank, by the way? Anyways, even Hank is someone I could see being down there. But I can't wait to see what they tell us about what this algorithm knows. I hope. Because this show has done a good job, like, sort of not really over dragging things, even if it's been a slow burn at times. I hope they don't, like, over cliffhanger in this finale, if that makes sense. Like, I need enough that I can breathe until the next season comes out. Listen, I may even go read the books, because I'm like, okay, you guys have opened up my mind a little bit more than I thought. And I still don't know. I still just can't. I'm jumping again. I just, like, is Juliette making it back this
season?
I think I stick to one of my earlier predictions, which is, excuse me, it almost feels like the last scene of the last scene of the season is her just opening the side door, like just making it in there.
I still think the down deep tunnels might be a way. Like, Lucas opens the door, and he ends up on her side.
I feel like Lucas comes and she goes, Like honestly, if I wrote this show, that's what I would do.
Like a circle.
Yeah, just to mess it all up. Like Lucas appears and it's like, oh, it's Juliette, and they're like, oh, you just missed her, and they're like, wait, what?
Well, here's my question related to that, right? Because Juliette has been talking about this kind of ticking time bomb of oh, I'm gonna get there before they open up.
Yeah.
Right. So far, it doesn't seem as if the other side is trying to open up. Right. Though there's a couple of people that annoy me that might be trying to do that. We'll get to that in a second. But let's talk about Paul Billings and his adventure. You know, last episode, he reveals his wife, or she found out through Pete, that he was holding a secret of visual of the outside world.
Yeah.
And now that continues, and she's kind of really upset about it, and upset that we should know about this. And that's what I was talking about earlier in terms of, people feel that we should know about the outside world, we should know what's going on.
Yeah.
But Paul, this episode and the last few episodes, he was going through kind of, when someone who drank the Kool-Aid and now the Kool-Aid is kind of wearing off.
Yeah.
He's starting to realize, because he's been that kind of person that we got to do the right thing, but not to a ridiculous point, right? I liked when Thingy says to him, Robert says to him, you chose a side, you chose a line or something like, oh no, you crossed the line and gone over to the other side.
Like, yeah,
he's like,
line moved.
The line moved. And so he's that kind of person that's like, I did believe in it when it was like this.
Yeah.
But this has changed. It's like, some people be like, oh, you're such a supporter of X country. It's like, no, I was a supporter of that country when the country had these beliefs. Exactly. Their beliefs have changed.
I'm not a blind supporter. I'm not like, right? Oh, no matter what you do, I'm going to support you. Like, no.
Right. It's like the beliefs, the fundamental beliefs changed. It's not that I changed. The fundamental beliefs changed. And he starts to realize, okay, I can't just be passive anymore.
Yeah, I'm not just a yes man for rubbish.
I've got to do something. So
Bernard's just the worst. It's like, oh, sorry, Billings, this is all his idea. Oh, we found out he's crazy. Yeah. I love that. Listen, he's gonna kill that lady if she's not careful, because she's always like, what?
But
really? What, but I thought you said. He's like, you better shut up.
Stop being a sheriff and asking questions, and go and be a sheriff and ask these questions I dictated to you.
Like, we're leaving the position vacant. Like, just you're all crazy.
Yeah, I did like when Paul finally goes to Shirley and then was like, I've decided to help. And Shirley's like, okay, you do.
Like, you come in here, hey man, I thought you'd have like a plan, like, here I have a room full of guns and this is how we take it. It's just like, bro.
And I find it interesting, right, how that connects to, they realize that they need Camille's help, even though it's at least the best of the worst, right? It's the devil, so to speak, from their point of view, because they don't think that she's out there to help them. They just know that she helped them. So clearly she has an agenda that doesn't align with Bernard's. Right?
Yeah.
And what I like about this narrative by the end of it is that you understand that one of the things that there's a theme of this show is that people, you got to think of like parents doing whatever they can to save their kids and protect their kids. Right. And so I kind of like what the Sims here are doing, where like, because I don't think they have any kind of nefarious wishes towards Mechanical. It's just they realize that, let's side the winning team here, so that we can now be in the position of power, right? And what do you think of that whole idea of the unification, coming together, my enemy against my enemy of my enemy is my friend.
I like that. I think Billings played it smart, right? It's just one thing I've enjoyed is that it's just like the unraveling of curiosities continues to kind of be Bernard's undoing, right? Because everybody just keeps poking at the, oh yeah, so, did you see this? Oh, did you see this? And like just, I think the scene, it was both the Sims just looking at that picture, right? You could just see them being like, I don't know. It's like what he said. Like, the line is moving. Like, your beliefs yesterday are not your beliefs today, because like what is that picture? Especially because this is a world where like they have printers or AIs. Like, for this picture to exist, it means that this thing must have existed in some way, shape, or form, right? So I think just seeing that realization bubbling to the top of their heads has been a great thing for me to see from my perspective as a viewer, and I'm just again, it's been building up to this. Camille has been dropping these breadcrumbs. I feel like
Hmm.
now she's just like, all right, all right, all right, Robert, the time is nigh. Like we. We just have to know more. I feel like a lot of their issues aren't even like, oh, we want to go outside or we think that the world is green outside. It's more like, okay, we knew not what we thought we knew.
Hmm.
Let's just take control. I feel like the Sims are going to somehow just be pivotal in getting a grasp on the silo.
Hmm.
If that ends up better or worse, because this happens in shows, right? I'm thinking like Daredevil and Spider Man. How sometimes you get rid of the Kingpin and then things get worse,
The power
right?
vacuum.
Yeah, like I'm not even saying Bernard sucks, but I'm not even saying that Sims are gonna come there and be like, all right, yeah, now I'm gonna be helpful for the silo. But no matter what, I feel like Bernard's days are numbered, right?
Well, because I think Bernard
Mm,
is so stuck in kind of literally going by the book, right?
yeah,
And he's not caring about the people. As bad as the Sims are, because Bernard has no one, at least now, left that he really cares about to that point. Because as much as the Sims are going for power, and it's funny to say the Sims because of the game, The Sims. Um, it You can tell that from their point of view, they're making decisions because of their child,
yeah, yeah.
right? And again, this also plays into what I was saying earlier about
Mm-hmm.
the differences in two silos. One silo withholds information, one silo offers information. And the silo that withholds information, as people find out information, they get pissed.
Yeah.
So it's like, and you see a difference in someone like Robert, right? Going from, what is that? That's a relic, can't have it, to,
Mm.
here, my son, hold
Here,
this
son.
relic.
Hold
Right?
this, son.
So
Wife,
you
you
can
look at
even
this.
see he's even kind of loosening up when it comes to things
Hmm.
like that, and realizing that these things shouldn't be kept away from people. This information should be kept away, should be shared. It should
Yeah.
actually be, the more
It's not
people know,
it's not diabolical as it seems. It's not
right?
like it's poisonous.
And speaking of poisonous, again, we talk about all the time, sharing information would help.
Yeah.
Bernard, if you just told people that the air is poisonous, they wouldn't be so reluctant. They would be so reluctant to try and break out.
That's the funny thing. Anyways, it's crazy that he doesn't know, or like you said, he's just so stuck in the ways. Because like I feel like that would be my thing. I'd be like, look, guys, wait, you don't believe me? Pick one person who wants to go out. No. Pick one person who wants to go out right now. Yeah, go.
Yes,
Let's
go.
all
I'll
let's
give you.
all watch them.
Yeah, let's watch.
You see?
We'll make it. Let's make
I'm
it
like
an
you see
event.
him. I'm like you see him. Yeah, I'll do like a full party, like
You're right.
and Super Bowl watch party.
Everyone gets
Have
extra credits,
snacks,
extra food credits.
everything. Just wait, and then I would literally just be watching their faces as they see the
Right.
person choke and die, and I'd be like, "Do you now understand why I
Thank
do
you.
what I do? No, you don't. So anybody else?"
I almost feel that that's the direction that
Mhm,
Meadows wanted to take, right? Because Meadows
mhm,
would always talk about, I get what you're trying
mhm.
to do, but maybe
Yeah,
the end
better
result
way.
could be the same, but
Yeah.
maybe the way we get there can be with more tact,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
We can be smarter with it. I understand what you're trying to say. I'm with you,
And Bernard is like,
but
pact, it's all the pact.
the pact said this. I have to do it the way the pact says,
Sorry,
and
and
it
like,
says I have to kill you
like,
too. So
and the funny
sorry,
thing is, and that's the funny thing, the pact is now not even helping him at
right?
this point. So he still ended up deviating from the pact just in the worst way.
um, let's talk about mechanical, right? I 100% think Knox knows that Martha is the traitor
Yeah,
because he
I'm
literally tells her, it's
92%.
like, he's like, because I think he's even hinting at her when he's like, oh, we know it's Teddy's mother,
Teddy's
you know,
mom,
blah, blah, blah. But we understand why she did it. She was
she
protecting her
did.
son. We won't be mad at her. And it's almost like
As
telling
he
her, like, it's
looks her
okay.
in the eye.
We won't be mad at you.
Yeah.
Don't worry. And I kind of like how he kind of figures it out. Again, if you're paying attention, it makes sense because earlier on, Billings is like, "Oh, we're trying to get a message up there. Oh, it's tough to get a message. It's hard." And then all of a sudden, he's just like, "Wait, I know," because he remembered last week when Martha was like, "Oh yeah, I have to go up and do the thing,
Yeah, the
you know."
capacitor.
Like you mentioned, someone's going to
Mhm,
figure it out, and he kind of figures it out that way. But again, what's showing a great characteristic of Knox is that he doesn't go straight to judgment.
They don't throw the people under the bus
No,
consistently, right? This is not the
consistently.
first time. Even the lady with the food poisoning, it's always like, okay, there will be some repercussions, but like, I get
We
it, y'all.
understand.
It's like we're all in a terrible situation. I'm not about to be here saying, "Oh, how could you?" It's like I get it, but I kind of have to put an end to that. But I feel like, yeah, I 92% agree with you. I'm just leaving 8% just because they're the advocate. But very much when he's like, we're gonna use all the gunpowder. Slow wink. And then Bernard smiling. I'm like, oh, but they're gonna get Bernard so good.
Bernard's like, he's writing his notes, gunpowder.
Gunpowder.
Which I think is also smart, because not only is he kind of telling her that I know it's okay, but it's almost like we can tell Bernard we're going left, but we're actually going right. It's perfect kind of deviation, which is a smart way to kind of use something that was meant to be used against them. Now it's a weapon. They weaponized it. Right,
exactly.
Against him. And I feel like Bernard's hubris is enough that because part of me is like, is Bernard going to really fall for it though? Is he going to get it? But another part of me is like, no,
like
but he is that.
100% is, because he's so confident in himself, right?
Yes.
He's like, I got him. I got her.
Yeah, exactly. And he's always telling her these lies and stuff like that. And he wants to believe that he's going to prevail at the end of it all. Here's my question. My most frustrating part of this episode.
How did Siri just activate? Like, what did you even say to make Siri don't? Just don't.
Shut up! You're not the algorithm. Exactly. Siri's like, do you know about? Do you know about the safeguards?
Like, no, I actually don't, Siri.
Here's my most frustrating part, and I don't know if it's frustrating because I don't like it narratively, or is it frustrating because that's what the writers want me to feel? Because that's a fair point at times. But then, because at one point I was like, okay, Juliette is afraid that blah blah blah, people are going to come out of the silo and open the doors. But then throughout the season, I'm like, well, Mechanical is smart enough to realize maybe we don't do it that way. You know, even earlier on, their plan was to go to Meadows and say, hey, can two of us go in a suit and check it out? Blah blah blah. You know, they never had the need to kind of let's break out.
Yeah,
you know. Until Pete starts talking to Paul's wife.
Yeah.
And what's frustrating is that we, the audience, know that what he thinks he knows is completely wrong.
Yeah.
And I can see them going down the narrative of the final episode of those two, especially led by Paul Billings' wife. What's her name?
Camille. No, sorry. Wow, that's true. What is
Kathleen?
Her name? Kathleen, yes.
Because she has just now become almost like radicalized. Yeah. You know, that moment with Patty.
She has been, though.
When Patty was like, do you know? Well, they're holding things back. You know, just open that door. Just, open that door. And I think, and I don't know if I don't know how many people are in support of this, right? It's just the two of them. Or do they have a whole bunch of people that are going to be like, come together and be like, let's open the door. Yeah. Because that's the thing. So I'm like, I don't know this final episode. Is that going to be, because I feel like there's going to be some kind of ticking clock. Is the ticking clock going to be, gotta get there quickly before they open the door? Or is the ticking clock going to be, shit, the safeguards have been activated? What do you think?
Are we guessing both? Is that
I feel like having both is almost redundant.
Yeah.
Because it has the same effect.
Yeah, it's like you can save them separately for two separate occurrences. Right. That's a tricky one. Because let's see. So wait, Lucas is downstairs right now. Juliette technically has her suits, right? And is ready to go.
She's ready to leave.
I feel like it's the poison before the safeguard. The only reason I would guess that is because the safeguard we just found out about.
I feel like that's going to spill into next season.
Yeah, like you can still save that, because it's like let the mystery of the safeguard still reign over our heads. Honestly, you could even wait till the end of season 4. Like, I don't know, but like the point is, like, it's not necessary for me to find out what that safeguard is just yet, though I want to, right? Mm-hmm. But we know that literally as of now, unless she's staying to eat ice cream and play the drums, Juliette's ready to go, right? There's nothing technically keeping her back. And even Lucas, again, depending on how the tunnel system works, I doubt it. That's a separate one. But just I feel like the poison is the current overarching thing that's been over our heads that we now need to address, especially like you said, because of Paddy, right? With Paddy being like, Paddy knows nothing about the safeguard. All the pictures, everything has nothing to do with the safeguard. It only has to do with the outside. So I definitely see a case where, Paddy, Billings, whatever, they're all like, all right, finally we got it. We're going out. And Juliette, she might I could even see her like pushing them back in. Like they open the door and she like bundles them in. Like, are you crazy? So I feel like just my guess would just be the poison is the is the ticking time bomb for this finale, because again, for me, the safeguard is still such a black box. It's such a, like, we don't know what it is, that there's almost no point to deal with that just yet. It's more, okay, safeguard aside, what's the information? That's what we care about right now, right? Like, sure, whatever, safeguard, wait, algorithm, talk to me, what's up? What is this information that is so crazy you can't tell anyone, right?
Do you think another thing, because there's different groups of people, right?
Yeah.
So you have mechanical, in terms of if there's an all-out fight.
Yeah.
You have mechanical. You have judicial. But I'm starting to think that maybe there's a third sect of the sheriffs. Like, because I could see a situation where it's a standoff between mechanical and judicial, and the sheriffs go on mechanical side because of Paul.
Yeah, which then evens the numbers a little bit.
But then I don't know. I'm not sure if we're going to get all out battle and then something stops. Because I think at some point, I think your boy Armistead's going to look at his judicial. You know the end of Gladiator. Spoilers for Gladiator for those who haven't seen this over 20-year-old movie. At the end of it, where is it Lucius or no? What's his name's character? Joaquin Phoenix's character is fighting, and then he cheats, and then his sword drops, and he's like, "Give me a sword," and the general's like, "No, let him fight by himself."
Yeah.
I almost feel like Armistead would be in a situation like that, where Bernard's like, "Get him," and Armistead, and then his men are about to go, and Armistead's like, "No."
And Armistead's like, what is that? Did I leave the oven on? I think I left the kettle on. I'll just be right back.
But that's assuming, again, because I don't know what I want. One more episode to go. Does Bernard die this episode?
What do
we want Bernard to be? Do we want him done?
Honestly, die? No. If it's want, it's like, no. Bernard needs he needs. This is the sadistic thinking, right? He needs some of the Carla treatment, right? He can't just be let go this easily. He needs to. You know what? Bernard needs to go clean.
Well, because again, we still have 2 more seasons to go.
Yeah.
Who's the antagonist? Obviously, we have larger things at play in terms of who created the scientists, the founders. I mean, the asylum, the founders, and the algorithm.
Yeah.
Of course, you have opportunities for villains there. But I feel like, Tim Robbins has kind of raised the stakes with Bernard.
Yeah.
That someone has to fill those shoes, and there's some pretty big shoes to fill.
Yeah, and it's similar to how I didn't want them in Silo 17 to get rid of Solo, because he has the information. It's like, listen, Bernard knows so much that it's almost dumb to kill him. It's like, listen, even if he's not giving the information immediately, keep that dude around. He knows things that you'd have to, like, I don't know, read for years in that vault to even get up to his at least general knowledge, right? Like how Lucas was like, oh, 50,000. It's like, nope, 51. It's like little things like that, right? Like, oh, the memory is like, I'm going to put something in the water. Yeah, it's like you still kind of need him, both for the story and for the people in the silo, where it's like killing him would not be the best use of vengeance. It's more like, and again, sorry, sadistic sounding, cut off his legs and keep him in a vault, like, right? Like, make sure he can't harm anyone as much as possible. But I don't think it would be the best to get rid of him. But not saying if he's gone, I won't be smiling. It's just that it would almost like be a disservice to the story a little bit if he died already. It's like he needs to be outwitted, but also just kind of kept around. I think those are some of the best villains, right? The ones where it's like you're kind of afraid that they could one day come back, right? Just because he still exists and he's in the atmosphere. And even then, like I said, Kingpin is still a great example, because Kingpin usually, like, it's not like he's killed. It's just like he's removed, but you kind of know that it might be a year, it might be 2 years, it might be 5 years, but that dude's coming back.
Or Dr. Robotnik in the Sonic the Hedgehog movies.
Exactly, right? Like one of those, like, even if he's killed, he's coming back type of thing. But that doesn't happen here. But I just feel like, the best use of Bernard for me would be for him to be defeated, quote unquote, or outsmarted this episode, but still locked up and kept, because he's done so much to these people that, like, some of their justice wouldn't necessarily, I feel like, be felt if he dies. / he has so much information that you still want to get some value from him.
All right, here's my final question before we end this. Do you think this does the expected trope of a season finale and killing someone? And if that's a yes, who do you think who are on your lists? It doesn't have to be in any order, but who's your list of people who possibly get a chopping block?
Somebody died last season finale.
Yeah, didn't her boo, George?
Oh yeah,
I don't know if that was season finale. Though. I can't remember if that was finale.
But fair enough.
Yeah.
You want someone to die. On whose side? First of all, where's Juliette's father? I'm just like, where's that dude?
Yeah, he was in the Down Deep helping people before.
If anyone, like I'm saying, I mean, I feel like Camille and Lucas are really, like, it would be, if Lucas dies, he has to pass on the information, which is very possible. I could see, I've been saying this, I don't see him
give it to Juliette. Give it to Juliette when she comes back.
Yeah, or even somehow, either when he comes back, leaves her a message, goes to the other side of the passage. I don't know, somehow that one. Camille. Camille's done a lot. She's done a lot this season. I'm also wondering if she's able to avoid, because I don't think Robert Sims is dying.
I feel like if she dies, he turns into a savage. Unless that's the point.
Yeah, which he's already like vicious, so it's almost like, what's the point? But then I also do see the point, right? I could see him, because if he dies, I feel like she gets tame, right? A little bit, like she's almost like that. He was my purpose for living. I'm bored now, right? But if she dies, he goes full on haywire, like in fact kills Bernard with his own hands, type of thing. Right. So I see those two. Martha.
I could see Martha.
Martha, I think you're the martyr here.
I could see it.
Yeah, because you've done a lot where, and it's gonna be one of those annoying things. Like, she may sacrifice herself to.
Oh shit, Martha and Carla together.
That'd just be funny and mean, because Martha has to feel bad for everything she's done, right? And I feel like that the regret, because she still got those dudes arrested, no matter what happens, right? Let's just rewind and say that those guys with the great plan, they've all gone through hell because of her, right? And she feels like you could even see it weighing on her, even though she also can't leave that room. I feel like the guilt causes her to just do something where she may end up, kamikaze type of explosion going out. So that Knox and Shirley would one of them die.
I could see that happen. I could see that happen with Carla somehow gets killed. And that leads Shelley to be like, kamikaze, I'm going to meet you in the afterlife type thing. Because the whole thing is that she regrets the time they missed. And she's like, I'm in this again.
Exactly.
So I feel like Martha's going to be like, wherever you are, I'm there too. If they're alive or dead, I'm with you. I think that's kind of how I see that.
Yeah, I see that. I think Knox and Shirley.
Do you know what low-key death would be? Like a lower level death, but still have punch? Because you know how sometimes you have like the high-level deaths that have punch, and then you have the low deaths that are like, I didn't care. And then there's like the low-level deaths of a smaller character, but still powerful.
No, not Billings.
Hank.
No, don't do it.
Exactly. See, your reaction proves my point.
Because didn't you hear me? I said, wait, where's Hank? I've been saying the last episodes, guys, where's Hank?
Because he's a character that narratively you can kill, that doesn't really change the story.
Doesn't upset the story so much, but it's like, no.
But it's still like, but it's Hank. He knows everybody on a personal level.
Like, exactly. Like, it's one of those, like, we're going to play, billiards on Sunday. Like, and we're going to the farm on Tuesday to pick apples from the orchard.
No, we had a plan. I could almost see Hank. And I could also almost see that also as a way to kind of unite the sheriff's department.
That would be a great unity driving, because I don't think Billings is dying. Would Billings' wife die?
I could see her dying.
I could. It would be unfair. I could see her, based on what you're saying, right? I could see her having drank Patty's Kool-Aid and somehow telling Bernard, I want to go clean. Maybe not that exactly, but like just something where she goes out, and that also unites them a little bit, because it drives Billings mad. They realize that, wait, Bernard, just something where it's like you said, she's important enough to the story that we know who she is, but also like her not being on the screen. I never think of her when she's not on the screen, right? When she's on the screen, I'm like, oh yeah, lady, C lady, whose name I forget again. Kathleen, right? So I think those are the people I think on the chopping block. I could see each of them going.
What do you nerdies think? The final episode is coming up. What do you think of this series up until this point? Who do you think you'll survive? What do you think we'll get from the second season? Find us on social media at The Nerdie Bunch. No spoilers if you've read the book. I'm sure some of the book stuff has given some answers. But also, if things have diverted from the book, you can tell us the diversions. Don't tell us what happened in the book. You can just be like, oh, in the book, Lucas didn't find the algorithm or something like that. Let us know. We like to kind of find out. Though after the season ends, I will be reading book 1 to kind of find out myself as well. Also, I found out there's a graphic novel too. If you're into that kind of stuff, that'd be fun to read as well. If you have any thoughts, find us on social media at The Nerdie Bunch. You can also send us a comment. You can also send us recommendations, The Nerdie Bunch Podcast at gmail.com. Check out our other shows that we are reviewing. We're about to do the season finale next week of Star Wars Skeleton Crew. We also have, what else do you have? Creature Commandos. We just did the finale of that. Season finale of that. Check that out as well. And we have a bunch of new shows, and we will be doing more movies in 2025. So look out for those. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, David.
My name is English Dave, and this has been a Nerdy Bunch review for Silo Season 2, Episode 9. Next week is the finale. I don't know what to do with myself. I'm excited. As always, Andrew.
Keep it nerdy.
Peace.